What's up, Get Slam Nation, and welcome to another episode of Get Chopped. Thank you so much for your response in the first episode. And for those not familiar with it, of what Get Chopped is actually the official second episode. Some would say it's the third episode if you count my Alberto Del Rio and Paige video, but I don't count that. It was before I planned to do Get Chopped more regularly. That's a fun word to say, isn't it? Anyway, what Get Chopped is I take stories from the week or day or whenever I'm recording. I take stories of wrestling that could be controversial or maybe not controversial. Maybe they're WWE or, Global Force Wrestling or whatever. Take them, chop them up into bite-sized pieces, deliver that information to you. So without further ado, here's today's story. In a recent interview with The Sun, WWE superstar Seth Rollins said that he doesn't believe that UFC and other MMA stars need to cross over into WWE to increase their popularity. Of course, this comes after rumors of Ronda Rousey reportedly working with star Brian Kendrick to train for her WWE debut. Now, it's not that surprising to hear that this would be from Ronda Rousey, considering she's a very outspoken wrestling fan. She was even spotted at many WWE events, including the Mae Young Classic, and even got in the ring and mixed it up with Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania 31. It's also very viable considering that it looks like her UFC career might be over after her last two losses. Another rumor is John Bones Jones, after winning his UFC title match at UFC 213, there's been rumors floating around that he wants to cross over into WWE as well. Here's what Seth Rollins had to say in the interview. Quote, "I think we have maybe the most talented roster of all time. I don't think we need anybody to help or cross over. If they want to come over to our world and have some fun, then that's cool, but we're happy doing our own thing on our own." End quote. And I completely agree with Seth Rollins on this. I'm someone who believes that there's UFC fighters, there's WWE superstars. They both live in separate worlds, and sure, they can overlap with WWE superstars retiring and entering the ring and vice versa, but current roster stars should not cross over. Of course, there can be exceptions. Of course, that one exception is Brock Lesnar. Issues I have with Brock Lesnar joining UFC 202 in July of 2016 are really simple. I just think that it kind of diluted what Mark Hunt was trying to do, and it also a little bit dilutes what WWE is trying to do, because if Brock Lesnar were to go in that fight and lose and get decimated, that would hurt WWE's product and only make UFC's product. And with Brock Lesnar winning, sure, it makes both products look great, but Lesnar went and did something stupid and got popped for performance-enhancing drugs, for PEDs, and so now that hurts UFC and WWE as well. Some would argue, yes, but WWE is a staged event, it's entertainment, blah, 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 the typical argument. But at the same time, they have wellness policies in place. Big stars, i.e. Paige recently, have been hit with these, and they've been made a big deal. They've made a huge deal about this since the deaths of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. So now UFC and WWE are both in a hard place, because WWE still makes Lesnar the star he needs to be, while Mark Hunt, he gets screwed out of money, and UFC is kind of just thinking, maybe this wasn't a good call. I don't think stars should cross over. This is just something that I've always been against. Not because I prefer one over the other and I prefer sports entertainment over UFC and MMA. There's nothing wrong with those and nothing wrong with liking them. But I think people need to understand this crossover, not only amongst sport, but fans, isn't that big and isn't that great. Sure, there's a lot of overlap between WWE fans and UFC fans, but as we talked about in the podcast, it's not necessarily the same thing the other way around. And that, to me, lies a problem. I don't think either need each other. They can exist in the same space, but really don't need each other. Sure, you can have a WWE star in the crowd at UFC events or vice versa. That's okay. That's fine. That's what they do. That's like your celebrity calling that you do on either show. Just don't put them in the ring unless it is a situation with Ronda Rousey like WrestleMania 31, which was a really cool moment and it was fun to do. You can't necessarily do that at a UFC event and just have a WWE superstar just break into the octagon. You can't really do that. That's kind of the whole crux of this. This has kind of been my point. I completely 100% agree with Seth Rollins that that UFC stars shouldn't be used in WWE because they're just not needed. This is, I agree with him, the most talented, athletic roster WWE seen in a very, very long time, if ever, and I think they need to focus on that. So much for watching this, and remember, just don't go out there and get chopped.